stop for a second and think about what you know about Sephardic Jewish history in the American South. Maybe you're thinking about the earliest Jewish immigrants to what would become the United States, the Sephardic Jews who arrived in Charleston and Savannah in the 18th century. Maybe you're thinking about your own family's history of immigration stories or family recipes passed down through generations. Two of the most significant American Sephardic communities are right here in the South, in Atlanta, Georgia, and Montgomery, Alabama. These communities are largely made up of Jews whose ancestors immigrated to the United States from Rhodes in the early 20th century, arriving in the South in search of economic opportunity and perhaps warmer weather than what they encountered in the Northeast. Congregation Or V'Shalom in Atlanta and Agudath Israel Etz Chaim in Montgomery are vibrant centers of Southern Sephardic life, and their leaders and members are doing important work to keep Sephardic traditions and history alive. That's what we're talking about in this month's episode of the ISJL Virtual Vacation, which premieres on Tuesday, April 26th at 12 p.m. Central Time. I'm excited about this episode for so many reasons. Perhaps chief among them, the fact that this episode could not have happened without the incredible work of former ISJL interns. Annika Jones, a history and heritage intern from Carleton College, my alma mater, wrote and co-produced this episode during the winter of 2021. And the episode is based in large part on the scholarship of Mimi Brown-Wooten, who served as a public history intern at the ISJL in the summer of 2019, and who is currently a PhD candidate at the University of Michigan. I asked both Annika and Mimi to tell me about why this story piqued their interest, and why you should watch the episode.
I think I was particularly interested by kind of the stories of immigration and a lot of the uncertainty, especially revolving around like, why did people come to the South? Why did they go to Atlanta? Why Montgomery in the 1900s? Like, what was the motivating factor? And kind of there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding the exact reason. People are saying, oh, it's because of economic reasons or this and that, but there's no kind of, stories are kind of vague, and it's a lot based in memory. And then there's a lot of stuff now kind of about losing a little bit of that memory, or some of the younger generations moving a little bit away from the congregation, from the synagogue, losing that, the Ladino language, kind of losing some of the rituals, but then also the congregation working to keep those rituals intact and working to kind of preserve that tradition.
But I became really interested in this history because it was kind of positioned as sort of a doubly marginalized story, that in the United States, we don't often think about Jews in the South, and in Jewish history in general, the Ashkenazi narrative, especially in the United States, that kind of Ashkenazi immigration story is very much the kind of hegemonic narrative, right? So I was kind of interested in the story for that reason, because it was kind of a minority within a minority, is how a lot of people often talk about Sephardi Jews. And it was a really exciting story. And when I was at the ISJL and I came across, there was one article written by a scholar named Yitzhak Kerem, who had written a history of these Rhodesian Jews who had immigrated to Montgomery and Atlanta. It was a pretty straightforward history. And I also remember at the time, I was in Josh Parshall's office with Rose, who was the other intern in 2019. And I said, is there any book about, we were looking at his bookshelf, and I said, is there a book about Sephardi Jews in the South? And he was like, no, definitely not. This is not a story that has been told, but it's a really fascinating and I think important story for a lot of reasons.
I think this is a really great opportunity to learn anything about Sephardic Jewish communities in the South. I think a lot of people don't know that much. It's a great opportunity to learn about immigration patterns for Sephardic Jews, to learn about their history, these communities' histories. It's also cool to see kind of these past oral interviews, and then we're also doing more present ones with members of these communities, so you get to see what they're doing right now and what their current concerns are.
Join us on Tuesday, April 26th at 12 p.m. Central Time for a rich, engaging, and thought-provoking episode that features voices from Atlanta and Montgomery's Sephardic communities, past and present. I'll see you there.